Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Brunette Bimbo Podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing change, embracing change, dealing with change. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm fairly young, but I have had many changes throughout my life, and not all of them have been super easy to deal with. Most of them were unhappy, unwelcoming circumstances that I had to navigate through. Change leaks into our life in all kinds of ways, whether it's been invited or not. One day you're working morning shifts, and the next you're working afternoons, and you didn't really want to work afternoons, but now you're working afternoons. Or you're 17, in the blink of an eye, you're balding, you got a mortgage, you got 3 children, and then in another blink of an eye, those children are grown with mortgages and children of their own. In life, we have small changes and large changes. Sometimes they are welcome changes, like a pay raise, and sometimes it's unwelcome, like a funeral or old age. I don't claim to be intelligent. However, I have navigated through a sea of changes in my short time, like I've said. And I'd like to share with you what I've learned. The first thing I've learned to be true is that if you want to survive your season of change, the first thing you must do is accept that you are in a season of change. Fully accept it. Once you have accepted that, you have to do this other thing, and that's not really easy to do either. But you have to do everything in your power to release your fear around this new season of change so that your emotions about the change that's happening, your fear around change in general, cannot control you as you move forward, navigating these new changes in your life and finding your new normal. For example, I've been in and out of dental work for the last 5.5 months, and I'm still not done. Every time something new is done to my teeth, my eating changes a little bit, and sometimes I notice change in my speaking patterns. Not exactly something I want to be dealing with, but the end result will be a welcomed change. And so the process of getting to that result is something that I have to accept and release my fear around. Think about the first time you had to go to school, the first time you had to get on a bus, the first time you went from elementary to middle and then middle school to high school. Those changes were scary, sketchy. You definitely didn't trust the people around you. You were probably nervous at the very least, maybe scared. You go from middle school to high school and all the kids there are huge. And you haven't quite fully grown into yourself. We've all experienced changes. We all know what I'm talking about. And if a grieving process is necessary for you to go through during this change, then you're going to have to accept that as well if you want to make it through this change without it hindering your path going forward. Most of the time, we don't plan on change. Change finds us and molds us into the person it thinks we ought to be. Unless we take a little bit of control back from it and we decide that we are still the person we were before, but now we're that person with said change. And for the change that knocks you off your rocker, the curveballs that life throws us that we never see coming, like the passing of someone we love or an animal, or losing an opportunity we really wanted, or maybe being on the same path for 8 or more years and finding out that path isn't working anymore, and you've got to do something entirely different because what's working for other people is no longer working for you. You're just beating a dead horse. These are all disappointing, nerve-wracking changes, things that completely throw us off our center. So if you want to make it through that without maybe regressing into old patterns, old habits that you've already put to bed, it is very helpful to know what your positive vices and your negative vices are. Positive vices are things like spending time with family, reading a book, journaling, going to the lake, playing a card game, having fun outside in the nice weather, if there's nice weather. Negative vices are things like overconsumption and alcohol, drug addiction, sex addiction, extreme outbursts of rage towards those you care about rather than just communicating what you're going through. So yeah, you want to know what your positive and negative vices are. That way, when you start somewhat leaning towards those negative vices, you can catch yourself and replace that with one of your known positive vices that you know works for you. And if you haven't gone through that process ever before, now's the time to figure it out, baby. Now you figure out what your positive vices are. It's a brave new adventure for you. And believe me, I know I probably sound pompous and high up on a horse right now because none of the things I'm talking about are easy. And it's not going to be something you can do in a day or maybe even a week. This is probably going to be a lot of time dedicated to your internal struggle and your internal acceptance of this new change. But once you start the process, it's really hard to go back. So you're already on the process of accepting your change if you're listening to this. And that's when you provide yourself the space to actually get into the groove of your new normal. Your new normal isn't going to come with a script or a schedule. It's not going to give you cliff notes. You're going to have to figure that out day by day. And you're going to have to give yourself the grace to figure that out day by day without, like I said, falling into negative vices. You don't want to exclude yourself for too long. You know, a little bit of space is fine, but excluding yourself from everything you love and everyone you love, going down negative patterns that you've already experienced before that did not get you when you were good, those are all things that you don't want to create right now because you're trying to provide space for the new normal that you are creating. And even if you're going through a negative change, there's always, always, always a way to mold it into a positive change if you deal with the pain, discomfort, whatever emotion it is that comes to you during that time of change. If you deal with that and work through it, you'll have more confidence in your strength and resilience in life. You won't feel like you're as weak or as fragile, and you'll create space for a new normal that could be really amazing, could be really positive. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this episode short and sweet, but I know that many people out there are going through a tough time, and it's hitting us on many levels in our personal lives and everywhere, and when you turn the news on, there's nothing good happening. And you talk to your neighbors and they're going through it too, So I hope this episode of embracing change, navigating change, has helped someone out there who is maybe just having a tough time, a rough go of it. And even if none of this information is new to you, I hope this episode at least makes you feel validated and seen, if nothing else. It's a bittersweet world out there, babes. So take care of yourselves, show yourself some love, give yourself some grace, and keep doing everything you can to be the best person that you can be for yourself. That's all we can really do at the end of the day. Thank you so much for listening. This has been another Brunette Bimbo podcast, and I can't wait to see you guys all in the next one. I appreciate your time, and if you want me to talk more about this, go ahead and leave a comment down below, or if you have another suggested topic you want me to talk about, comment that down below too. Until next time, loves.